can be. Whatever you do, stay in school. Stay in school. Whatever you do, stay in school. Inspired to work harder and harder. I'm reaching the heights. Our future is getting brighter. And as I grow older, I will soon discover true education is the key to life. I love school. Please stay in school. I love school. You love going to school. You want to be the best you can be. Do you believe that someday your education will be the key to your life? Yes. Tell me what you want to be. A doctor. What else you do? A star. Really?
All right. So 7-game SUC in the building. Y'all know how we rock it, man. You know how we doing over here, man. I could do videos on biblical breakdowns, videos on deep history, archaeology, genetic breakdowns, Jews, black Jews. I can do videos on mysticism, Kabbalah, Gematria. I could do videos on a number of things. But I think one thing that is lacking in the conscious community, and I know these type of videos are not going to hit like that, is the pushing and the propagating of education for adults. Because y'all think school, when we think of school or going to school, we're thinking of children. We're thinking of minors. No, we need some of these adults to get up, take the mantle, and go back and continue their education. And the reason why I'm stating this is because many of these adults, we just did a video on scamming, and many of these adults, many of these single moms, many of these black males are getting scammed because They are looking for a way to change their life financially. They are trying to change their fiscal outlook, right? They're trying to change the amount of money that is coming into their household every month. They're trying to alter these things, albeit they're going about it the wrong way. They're going to these internet gurus and getting scammed out their money because they're looking for a get rich quick scheme. They're looking for a way that requires no work at all, and that is a farce. Everything that you attain in life is going to require work. By the sweat of thy brow, thou shalt get bread. That's a biblical concept, but that is that's reality. Unless you're born into some rich family that had generational wealth passed down to them for hundreds of years, then the average American and the average person does not have a silver spoon in your mouth. So you have to gain skills, and like Thomas Sowell say, quickest way to get out of poverty is getting a skill people are willing to pay for. This is why education is so important. You understand? This is why I advocate that black adults, black male adults especially, because our women already do this. They got it down packed. They go and they continue education. They get their undergrad, they get their masters, they get their PhDs. And you don't get these and attain these degrees to argue with other people on the internet. You don't get these degrees to get on Facebook and have flame wars and groups. You don't get these degrees. People don't go to school for that. The primary purpose of obtaining a degree is for employment purposes, to gain access to higher salaries. Many of these degrees this is what you'll go into the skill-based sector. Many of Black Americans are in the unskilled sector. You know, you're working at Popeyes, you're down south, working at Church's Chicken, working at the local Wendy's, you're working at the 7-Eleven, you're a janitor, so on and so forth. These jobs don't pay any money. And what I hear a lot on social media, I hear a lot coming out of people's mouth is, oh, well, they don't pay us nothing. They don't pay you nothing because you're doing a job that is unskilled. People are going to pay for skilled labor. It's just that simple. So you have to go through the college system, these learning institutions to gain these skills so you can make more money. That's how you're going to change your life. You're not going to change your life by Brother Polite with his 3 streams, 6 streams, and 9 streams of income, and him setting up a tax deed and all this other BS, right? That's not going to give you more money. That is not going to alter your salary. You know, most undergrad degrees take 4 years. And many of these programs are going to be paid, majority of it's going to be paid for, because that's another farce that we're going to cover tonight. Majority of these programs are going to be paid for via the government. You understand? Your FAFSA, your Pell Grant. So there's numerous ways you can get into school and you can apply yourself. And then people say, well, I'm not ready for school. Well, there's courses that you can take to get you college ready. At this point, there's no excuse. We own less than 1% of the wealth. And that's tied directly to the fact that majority of our people, mainly males, mainly Black males, are illiterate. We live in an information age, and many of us cannot read and write proficient at a proficient level. We flunk out of schools. You understand? We don't have that many degree holders, especially on the Black male side. This is why we are suffering economically. And no one's teaching this. We're on the internet teaching about Atlantis, teaching about astral projection. I remember when that was a big thing. Brothers talking about they can astral project to Mars. They can astral project to other locations and locales on the earth. And you're teaching all of this pseudoscience, this mythic stuff, but no one's saying, hey, all you adults on the internet arguing about astral projection and Atlantis and the island of Mu and the Americans were inundated with black people and all these different ideologies. Even the ideology, we come from the Hebrew ideology. Instead of arguing and having religious, dogmatic arguments all the time, why are we not pushing, especially the organizations, the camps? I put this on my Facebook a numerous of times. I respect my Israelite brothers when we make a camp solely for the purpose of math and science and physics. Using that as a catalyst to get our people into STEM fields. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We showed last time the number one job for a math major is an actuary. You understand? They average like 150, 130, 150, somewhere around there a year. That's how you alter your life. That's how you change your life. Like the quote on the stream by Kofi Annan. Kofi Annan. Education is the great equalizer of our time. It gives hope to the hopeless and creates chances for those without. And we know the black community is without. We're destitute. We're impoverished. Our public school system failed us. But many of you that went through the failed public school system, many of you are adults. Many of you have everything that you need to continue your education. Like I said, if you're not college ready, you're not ready to take a 4-year program, there's programs to get you college ready. And the myth about college being too expensive, that's a farce. You can go to HBCUs. They're very inexpensive. If you're in Houston, TSU is very inexpensive. You can get a computer science degree there. With a focus on computer programming, you can make $100K a year with that degree. You understand? It's all about supply and demand. A lot of these fields, especially dealing with technocracy, the technology field, as far as a cybersecurity, computer programming, data scientists make so much money. If you become a data scientist, you can easily make over $100K a year. This is the gospel that we should be teaching. Because what's plaguing majority of our people is poverty. Why are we not focusing on getting our people out of poverty? Why do you want to know about Nephilim? Why is majority of our videos catered to mysticism and not science and math? Because these are the things that are going to put money into the pockets of families and restore families. The reason why our families are disenfranchised is because they're impoverished. It costs money to take care of children. Many of our women are on government assistance. And the sad part is because they cannot depend on you males. How do we change and address that? We push education and we get these degrees in the hands of these males. We got to change the culture. My whole life living on earth, one thing I've noticed with the black community is education is negative. It's a negative attitude for continuing education. When you with the Hebrew Israelites, it's the white man. You just want to go to school to get that white man paper. Well, you need that because it's the greatest prerequisite in this country into getting a higher salary, higher paying job. And we need jobs. And it's evident that you guys are not satisfied with the position you are in America and in life, because you're getting scammed, because you're listening to these gurus, you're listening to Polite, you're listening to these scam artists in hopes that they can change and alter your economic situation. How are you going to change and alter your economic situation? By getting a skill that people are willing to pay for. Being able to computer program right now is like striking oil, because you have so many companies out there that are trying to hire and find people, but there's not enough skilled people to do the job. It's like the field I'm in, HVAC. There's not enough skilled people that can do it proficiently. We should be taking advantage of that. That's how you get out of poverty. Not a get rich quick scheme, not forex trading, not day trading, not Bitcoin and all these things that, listen, the people that are primarily pushing these things, and I'm not saying some people haven't gained wealth. These are all supplemental incomes. These are not primary incomes, by the way. Majority of the people are not eating off of that. Majority of the people that are pushing and advocating for Bitcoin and that, these people are not making that much money. You understand? So a surefire way to increase your salary, to change and alter your financial outcome, is to get these skills, to go to college. I advocate computer science. You understand? Because computer science is a growing field, and that job sector is growing, and there's not enough skilled people to fulfill those positions. And they're paying top dollar for that. If you live anywhere in New York or Silicon Valley or Austin, Texas, those are gold mine places for jobs like that. You should be training and get your degree in those fields because they pay over six-figure salaries. Easy. This is how you get out of poverty. You understand? And sitting on the internet talking about Nephilim and the angels came down and had sex with women and the women mutated and these became the so-called people of Europe and all that stuff's fun, right? But let's start really educating our people on the things that matter. That should be the status quo. And every time you click on a YouTube channel that's pro-black, Israelite, it's always about reconstructing the community, always about how to get our people out of the issues they're in. And it's like, if you guys are serious about that, you would be advocating putting our people through school. And when I was a part of a camp, when I was a part of an Israelite organization, we had a sit down, and they wanted everyone to write down a suggestion. My suggestion was we start sending people to school. It was like a pyramid, and it would trickle down to everybody. We send 2 people to school. They get jobs. They donate it back into the source. Then we use that to send 2 more people to school. Now that's 4 people that got their bachelors, and 4 people got their jobs. And we keep that cycle going and double and double and double every time. Eventually, everybody in that congregation would have a degree and have a high gross salary job. What did that just do? You just solved the poverty problem within that organization. They did not listen. Because, to be honest, Black people look at education in a negative light. It's just the truth. It's the truth. We don't want to do math. We don't want to do science. We don't like to read. We hate reading. We hate doing the things necessary to gain these skills and these attributes that we need to get where we need to be in life. You keep talking about Black people need to do X, Y, and Z, but you don't want to put in the work and effort to do these things. That's why you're okay with just going to 7-Eleven and being a cashier. But then whine and cry and complain about, I want to change my life. I want financial freedom. Well, you're going to have to do these things that's necessary so you can have financial freedom, so you can afford that mortgage, so you can have excess cash. Say the average American doesn't have $500 in their savings. That's sad. You got to get over the hump. How do you get over the hump? Apply for one of these undergrads that are going to pay money. I'm not telling you to go to school for some BS. I'm telling you to get your BS, which is bachelor's in science. But don't go to school for Black studies, Africana studies. Anything in arts and education doesn't pay. I covered that on my channel. And guess who overrepresents those degrees? The Black people that do go to school tend to go into the arts and education because we have been trained, we have been conditioned to think that that's all we can do. When you look at these universities, look at the statistics. 3 to 6% on average with black attendance in a lot of these major universities. Now you'll be like, oh, this is because the white man trying to keep us down. No, we're not applying. It's not a lot of us that are interested in those fields. We got to build and cultivate that interest. Just like black people built and cultivated a negative subculture and an interest in the subculture, baby mama, baby daddy drama. That's a subculture that was cultivated by black people. A lot of these things that destroy the black community was cultivated and celebrated and made a thing of a badge of honor by black people like Crips and Bloods. I don't know how many conscious people I done came around, quote unquote conscious people that honor gang banging. Like, what the hell? But I can't get you to, apply to a school or spread awareness about how education could fix our financial woes. Some brothers I know, they damn near homeless. Do something about it. Well, everybody don't know what to do. Oh, I'm telling you what to do. We did it. We did a couple shows on here about that. I'm going to continue to do shows about it to spread awareness about black people, black males, black adults, continuing education. Because then the argument will be, well, we need to focus on the children. Well, we don't have enough black adult males with the skills to focus on the children. We don't have any resources to focus on the children. We don't have any community centers. We don't have what the Koreans have. When the kids get off school, they immediately go to tutors that are paid by the parents, paid for by the parents of that community. So we have to restore the valley of the dry bones, so to speak, which are the adults. And then the adults will pull together resources to actually reconstruct something of value in the community that our kids can grow up in a conducive environment. I know I'm not going to get that many views on this because this type of stuff don't excite y'all. Y'all want to hear about Nephilim all day. But, I'm going to keep pushing this to the forefront. I'm going to keep pushing it to the forefront. And I also want to show you guys this video on PragerU, because a lot of you guys think going to college is something. Oh, I need to go to college for something I like, or my passion. My passion is making beats, so I need to go to college to get pursue a degree in music. That's how people think. That's how we think. We're thinking wrong. We're thinking wrong. No, you geared toward a career that pays. You cultivate and mold people to go towards a career that pays. That's how the Asians do it. That's how the Jewish do it. That's how white Americans do it. I'm sending my children to school for a math major. I'm sending my children to school for computer science. That's why they end up dominating these fields. We can't get that in the black community. We can't dominate fields in the black community because you're going to get 1,000 people give me 1,000 reasons on why they cannot do something instead of saying, how can I do it? That's the missing element. When we're going to get started, people saying, how can I apply this? What do I have to do to get to this level that I need to be at? I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to be broke. If you don't want to be any of those things, then you're going to have to work. You're going to have to put in the work, the effort. Go to school. A lot of y'all got nothing but time on your hands anyway. Because y'all on the internet arguing all day. You're on 8-hour live streams. What you could be doing instead of being on 8-hour live streams is attending a learning institution to get your undergrad in a field that pays well. So you can get off that woman's couch. So you can be the provider for the family that you're supposed to be. So you can finally take care of your children. You understand? Notice I didn't say ball out. That's another problem. And Thomas Sowell, he addresses that in his book, Black Rednecks and White Liberals. And he was on point. So the culture that black people have did come from white British people, the degenerate culture that is. And that same culture of caring more about our appearance than our actual bank account, that came from them. And we carry that to this day. Brother can be broke as you know what, living in the projects, living in a hole in the wall. But when he step out, he got all of the name brand designer clothes, Prada this, Prada that, Gucci this. You understand? He got the big stupid shoes on that cost $600. Come on, man, your priorities backwards, but your bank account is in the negative. You didn't overdraft. You understand? These are the type of talks that we don't want to have. We don't want to address these things. You understand? You just spend all this money on your wardrobe, but your bank account is in the negative. What good is that? That's why I didn't mention balling out. We make this money and have this excess cash so we can grow. We're not. That's why I said in the last the show prior that at this point black males are useless to the community. Useless. I know y'all gonna get upset about that, but it's the truth. Because if you're not falling into the traps of the hood or the traps of being degenerate, then you're just working as a fry cook somewhere. And I'm not dissing anybody as a fry cook somewhere, but if you're a fry cook, you should be looking into higher education to better your life. This is going to benefit you. But you won't listen to that because you don't want to sit down and go through a course and take exams. That's too hard for you. But you will go listen to somebody like Polite. You give him your savings, $2,000, $3,500, and he rips you off. And then now you're on YouTube complaining and crying about it. When you could have took that same money, put it into an institution, and it was going to be an investment in yourself to gain a skill that people are willing to pay for. $100,000, $150,000 a year, plus bonuses and full medical. Come on, man. We got to get better, man. That's why I can't sit on here every day talking about mysticism with y'all. Talking about dogmatism or things that revolve around religiosity. No, you need to hear practicality. Especially you grown males that are suffering financially and causing others to suffer with you because you're being a strain on their wallet and a strain on their pocket. When you could fix that, you could solve that by getting a skill that someone's willing to pay for. Not by learning the book of Enoch, not by learning Atlantis, the secrets of Atlantis, not by telling me where the island of Mu is at. No, none of that. Not by breaking down all the Orishas, telling me all about the Akan religion. No. By getting a skill, man, and applying it. Not by becoming a sovereign citizen. Brothers be killing me with that. Not by getting a secured party creditor line. Not by using your birth certificate as a bank account. By something that's practical and tangible. Become pragmatic and shut off the dogmatism, man. Do not be dogmatic, bro. Fastest way to do this is going through an institution. Then you know what's funny about that? You would rather work at 7-Eleven as a cashier for 20 years than invest your time just for 4 years to get a graduate, to get your undergrad and go move on to make big money. It's going to benefit you. And then the more people we could get to do that, now we got stronger communities. Now you don't got to worry about gentrification because everyone's making good money. Everybody's eating good and they're practicing home ownership at that point. The higher salaries, the better loans you get. It's easier to obtain those homes. Now that you own your homes, no one can push you out of it because you own the damn property. Think. Stop crying about gentrification if you're not willing to go through the steps to prevent gentrification from happening. You're always going to be gentrified when you don't own your property. You're always going to be susceptible to it. You don't own the land you're standing on. Of course, other people can come in and buy up everything and move you out, move you and your people out. That's how it works. Y'all got to realize that, man. So no, I'm not going to sit here and inundate the YouTube with more religious breakdowns, Bible breakdowns. You understand? I'm going to focus on education and letting people know, spreading awareness about what job fields are viable, what degrees are viable for the betterment of Black people. Will I continue to do my book breakdowns? Yes. But I'm going to put more of an effort on teaching that because that's what needs to be taught. All right. Let me share my screen. I want to show you guys this. For all the brothers and sisters that say, well, people should go to school for their passion. Your passion doesn't pay you any damn thing. Just because you want to make a damn mixtape doesn't mean you're going to make it in the music industry. Doesn't mean you're going to blow up. Doesn't mean you're going to be the next Lil Wayne. Doesn't mean you're going to be the next Drake. That's a rarity. Just because you like football doesn't mean you're going to play for the Carolina Panthers, the Dallas Cowboys, New England Patriots. You're going to become the new defensive end for the New England Patriots. You're more likely to get a job in a field that has a high salary with a damn degree. Stop being so dream and passion orientated. Make your passion your hobby, not your career. It's a big difference. All right, so we're gonna play this video about following your passion, man, and it touches on education as well. So
use eToro to
show
trade
you this.
cryptocurrencies. Steve does extensive.
There are only two things I can tell you today that come with absolutely no agenda. The first is congratulations. The second is good luck. Everything else is what I like to call the dirty truth, which is just another way of saying it's my opinion. And in my opinion, you have all been given some terrible advice. And that advice is this: follow your passion. Every time I watch the Oscars, I cringe when some famous movie star, trophy in hand, starts to deconstruct the secret of their success. It's always the same thing. Don't let anyone tell you that you don't have what it takes, kid. And the ever popular, never give up on your dreams. Look, I understand the importance of persistence and the value of encouragement, but who tells a stranger to never give up on their dreams without even knowing what it is they're dreaming? I mean, how can Lady Gaga possibly know where your passion will lead you? Have these people never seen American Idol? Year after year, thousands of aspiring American Idols show up with great expectations, only to learn that they don't possess the skills they thought they did. What's really amazing, though, is not their lack of talent. The world's full of people who can't sing. It's their genuine shock at being rejected. The incredible realization that their passion and their ability had nothing to do with each other. Look, if we're talking about your hobby, by all means, let your passion lead you. But when it comes to making a living, it's easy to forget the dirty truth. Just because you're passionate about something doesn't mean you won't suck at it.
Exactly. So just like this guy stated, just like the man stated, your passion and your ability to do that does not equal. You understand? A lot of y'all want to be rappers. A lot of y'all want to be football players, movie stars, anything that deals with entertainment almost. That's what we gear ourselves up for. And it's just not realistic. So when someone say follow your dreams, follow your passion, that could be your hobby. But when it comes to making a living, you need to get a real career and a real job. All right, let's get it.
And just because you've earned a degree in your chosen field, it doesn't mean you're going to find your dream job. Dream jobs are usually just that.
A dream.
Dreams. But their imaginary existence just might keep you from exploring careers that offer a legitimate chance to perform meaningful work.
See that? Their imaginary existence will keep you from doing what? Finding a legitimate job with meaningful work. And we suffer from this greatly. Like I said, when we do choose to go to school, we go into the sectors of arts and education. Arts is that dream part, you know, drama, theater, trying to be the next Samuel L. Jackson, trying to be the next Basquiat, trying to be the next great musician, Beyonce, you know, the next Timberland, all these other things. That's what you're chasing for. That's your passion. But it's not a viable option. So you pick a field that is. That's why I push these viable options to you guys. Technocracy is growing. If you do anything dealing with computer science, programming, cybersecurity, IT infrastructure, and all that good stuff, data scientists, there are numerous of jobs in that field, and they can't fill the positions. And they pay very well. All right, watch this.
And develop a genuine passion for the job you already have.
Develop a genuine passion for that job.
Because here's another dirty truth. Your happiness on the job has very little to do with the work itself. On Dirty Jobs, I remember a very successful septic tank cleaner, a multimillionaire who told me the secret to his success. I looked around to see where everyone else was headed, he said, and then I went the opposite way. Then I got good at my work. Then I began to prosper. And then one day I realized I was passionate about other people's crap. I've heard that same basic story from welders, plumbers, carpenters, electricians, HVAC professionals, hundreds of other skilled tradesmen who followed opportunity, not passion.
You see that? Following opportunity, not passion. I know this video is not going to be popular. I know y'all not going to want to hear this. A lot of y'all going to click on and get off of it because it don't feel good. Y'all want that feel good preaching. Just tell me what I want to hear. Isaiah 30, I believe, touches on that, right? Itching ears. Don't follow your passion. Follow the opportunity. That's a concept we haven't wrapped our head around as a community. You understand? So, you know, he lists all the trades. We advocate for trades as well, but be ready to work. These trades require work. All those trades, carpentry, HVAC, you understand, pipe fitters, crane operators, you're going to have to do some work. And they pay very well as well. Let's go. Let's go, man. Follow the opportunity, not your passion.
And prospered as a result.
And prospered as a result. By following the opportunity, not their passion, they prospered as a result. That should be the motto, the credo for the Black community. Because we are so passion driven. We are so dream driven. That's why you have this 40-year-old man making his mixtape, because his whole life he's been told, follow your dreams, follow your dreams, follow your passion, follow your passion. Just do what makes you feel good. That's not logical. And he wasted all that time when he could have been learning a skill or a craft that people are willing to pay top dollar for. And his family suffered for it. Y'all gotta start thinking, man. Y'all gotta start thinking.
Consider the reality of the current job market. Right now, Millions of people with degrees and diplomas are out there competing for a relatively narrow set of opportunities that polite society calls good careers. Now, meanwhile, employers are struggling to fill nearly 5.8 million jobs.
You see that? Employers are struggling to fill nearly 5.8 million jobs. And these people with degrees, again, like I said, the black community does this. They're the worst at it. Overrepresent these degrees that don't mean anything. Black Africana studies, black studies. You're going to learn stuff like that. Arts and music and theater. You're getting degrees in ballerina and dance and all this other goofy stuff that you ain't going to get no viable job in when there's employers struggling to fill positions. Those are the fields you go into. Not because you're trying to go to a music school so you can be the next Timbaland, man. A performing arts school so you can be the next Jazzy Faye or Beyonce. Because the likelihood of you doing that is slim to none. When there's employers struggling to fill nearly 5.8 million jobs, and these jobs are paying well. 6-figure jobs. And I gotta fight tooth and nail to get this point across because we don't take this type of stuff seriously. But you will sit here and take someone that's serious that spends 20 years chasing a rap dream. When you look at J. Cole was rapping back in 2003. You know what I'm saying? He didn't blow into what? 2011 or something like that. And like I said, the likelihood of that is slim. Slim, man. And I think everybody in the hood is going to become rappers and be famous rappers. It don't work like that. So you go to school for a viable opportunity, not your passion. That's the key.
That nobody's trained to do.
That what? Nobody's trained to do. So employers are struggling to fill nearly 5.8 million jobs that nobody's trained to do. That is opportunity. We go get those necessary skills because these employers are desperate and they're going to feel we could fill those roles. There's a wide open gap in the job market, in the skilled sector, that our people could be taking advantage of. But you don't want that. We're not pushing for that. We're pushing for more religiosity. We're pushing for more camps, more churches, more African conscious groups. So we can all gather together and say Ashe, Ashe, and feel sorry for each other. Because we poor and we broke and we ain't got no skills. When we can actually be doing something about it, we can actually be applying ourselves. Actually get up and get these jobs, get the skills, get the paperwork required for these jobs. Look on your screen. Employers are struggling to fill nearly 5.8 million jobs that nobody's trained to do. Once you get that skill, you are a person of value. Yeah, Blaze Hart. I say. And this is what I'm saying. Like a lot of these organizations, what's the meaning to it? What's the purpose of it? Okay, you gathered a bunch of people together. Now what? We're going to all get together and sing hymns? What the hell is that doing for us? See, using these organizations as catalysts to get these people out of poverty. Because many of their social ills is directly tied to being poor. Listen, crime and poverty go hand in hand. They're twins. They're twins. Because the least amount of opportunities you have, the more crime you're gonna have. It's just that simple. Especially if these people are uneducated, they don't have any opportunities, they're going to go into a life of crime. It's more likely for them to do it. And they're in single parent homes. You know what Obama said about that? A male child born into a single parent home is 12 times more likely to get incarcerated. So poverty and crime, they go hand in hand. That's why we need to get more black males, more black families educated and get into these job fields so they can secure better salaries. So we can actually have strong neighborhoods. And the next generation doesn't have to fall through the pitfalls that we did. But no, nobody wants to do it. You don't want to hear that. You want me to get on here and talk about Pangea or something. You want me to get on here and talk about, African spirituality. Not about viable financial jobs and financial careers that we can get into. Or continuing education. What's wrong with continuing education as an adult? In my opinion, it's better to go to college when you're an adult and you got all of that foolishness flushed out your system. Because what's happening with young people when they go to school? They're joining these the women are joining sororities, fraternities, and all these other foolish organizations. And they're partying, and they're not even getting the material, and a lot of them drop out. Now you're an adult, you're more serious. You understand? Your mind is not as childish as it was, fresh out of high school. You're more mature. So you can be more driven towards a goal. You understand? Many of y'all got families. He's not going to be doing that foolishness. You're going to be there to obtain that skill, and that's it. That's it. So again, like you see on the screen, employers are struggling to fill nearly 5.8 million jobs that nobody's trained to do. Come on, man, get with the program.
This is the skills gap. It's real.
The skills gap. So what do black people need to do? Get the skills. Why is that something hard to understand? If we know there's a skills gap, we should take advantage of it. And gaining all of these skills, they have no choice because to hire us, because there's not enough people doing it. For all you conspiracy theories, the white man ain't gonna hire us. The white man, we are our biggest enemy because we're constantly telling ourselves that we can't do something. We defeat ourselves in our own mind. We're self-defeating. And if you got a felony, that doesn't mean you can't go back to school. There are plenty felony friendly. When we covered this on the show before, there are plenty felony friendly degrees. I might read over them again. You understand? You got a lot of degrees that you can work remotely from home and make great money and pull yourself out of poverty. So if you had a community with 10 people and all 10 of them achieve these degrees and achieve these jobs, you just made that community $1 million a year community. You see what I'm saying? They're all making six figures. That's how you fix black people. That's how you get those people out of their financial woes. Not by going to Bitcoin or turning to Forex trading, currency trading programs. You know what I'm saying? Or any of these other schemes, 3 streams of income that Polite promises you. And you ain't gonna make no money in that. You make money by skills. It's just that simple. That's how you make money, by getting skills. Your last name ain't Rothschild. All right.
And its cause is actually very simple. When people follow their passion, they miss out on all kinds of opportunities.
You see that? When you follow your passion, you miss out on all type of opportunity. Plenty of jobs out there that are willing to pay buku's amount of money. Buku's amount of money. And you're right, Ramal Yahoo. They don't want to hear this. And this is going to benefit them. All the other content that's floating around, they want donations. They want you to do stuff to benefit their cause, their platform. You go to a camp, you got to give alms to the leader. I'm trying to give y'all something that benefits you. Ain't you tired of making less than 40 to 30K a year? Aren't you? Keep following your passion. You miss out on all your opportunities, all of the opportunities that are out there. Again, there's a skills gap. Therefore, we need to gain those skills because there are over 5.8 million jobs that can't be filled because there are nobody trained to do them. Therefore, we need to get that training. It's simple.
They didn't even know existed.
And we don't know these opportunities existed because we're so driven on these passions. We're driven on becoming a rapper. We're so driven on, and we do it to our children. You're going to be a football player. You're going to be a basketball player. Meanwhile, the Asian is telling their children, you're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a physician. You're going to be a computer scientist. You're going to be a data scientist. You're going to be an actuary. You know what I'm saying? They got 5 kids. That's $500,000 a year. That's how they looking at it. Why you telling them just do it make you feel good? That's insane. That is insanity, man.
When I was 16, I wanted to follow in my grandfather's footsteps. He was a skilled tradesman, could build a house without a blueprint. That was my passion, and I followed it for years. I took all the shop classes at school. I did all I could to absorb the knowledge and skill that came so easily to my granddad. Unfortunately, the handy gene is recessive. It skipped right over me, and I struggled mightily to overcome my deficiencies, but I couldn't. I was one of those contestants on American Idol who believed his passion was enough to ensure his success. One day, I brought home a sconce I had made in wood shop. Looked like a paramecium. After a heavy sigh, my granddad gave me the best advice I've ever received. He told me, Mike, you can still be a tradesman, but only if you get yourself a different kind of toolbox. At the time, this felt contrary to everything I believed about the importance of passion and persistence and staying the course. But of course, he was right, because staying the course, that only makes sense if you're headed in a sensible direction. And
you see that? Staying the course only makes sense if you're heading in a sensible direction. This is what black people, for your head, this is from PragerU. PragerU, and the video is called Don't Follow Your Passion. Here, I'll show you. Right here. Don't Follow Your Passion on PragerU on YouTube. You understand? So, great video. But the point I want to extrapolate from the video is it says staying the course only makes sense if you are headed in a sensible direction. That's what we need to do. No problem, brothers or sisters. Shalom. So the sensible direction is, like he said earlier, where the opportunities are, the skill gap. The brother Ramal Yahoo said, I think every black man and woman should also read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The title sounds promising. I haven't read that book, but it sounds like that's something that we should be looking into. You know what I'm saying? I might look into it and might cover it on the channel. But, that's the point. We need to drive our people into a sensible direction, not making a bunch of priests, deacons, African priests. What Jabari call not an Asut. I forget what you call the Kemetic one. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Grand sheiks. You understand? We need things that actually pay our people good money, and it's not in a scamming way. You understand? A lot of these religious organizations, I'm gonna be honest, they want to get in them high positions because they want to live off the congregation. And we got to stop that, man. We need the people to be set straight, not one man or set a few men. They all get all the money and the community suffer. No, the community needs to be in good standing. The community needs to be economically fit. You understand? What good does that do black people that you like Tazadakia, that the one that died in prison? The feds cracked down on him because he was misappropriating funds. He had 501c3. What good did it do for the black people of his congregation? Like many of them might have been starving. I know the congregation I came from, people couldn't even pay their rent. But you know, our elder had to get $1,000 from each of the members of leadership a month. Not a month, a year, I think, a year. Pay his damn mortgage and put his kid through school while they suffering, while they in poverty. What sense does that make? To make everybody suffer so you can live good. Then got the nerve to get on camera and get on the street corners and say the white man is the devil, the white man oppressing us. No, Negro, you oppressing them. You oppressing the poor, and the scripture tell you don't do that. So again, we need to be skill orientated. The sensible direction is not making a bunch of church leaders. The sensible direction is getting our people skills so they can pay and afford their livelihood. Ablaze Hart said facts. His kids being sent to medical school off the funds of the people. Exactly. So you know what I'm talking about. His kids going to school and getting educated while your kids is just lost in the sauce. You got to take care of your kids, you know, till they 30 and 40, because you were struggling when you had them, and you sent all your little extra funds towards this man so he can live in a house in Mount Vernon, man. So his family can be straight while yours suffer. What kind of evil, maniacal bullshit is that? But this is the community that we are a part of. I'm an Israelite. I'm a part of that community. So I got to wear that shame. I got to wear that shame. And I'm sick of it, man. If you read the book of Nehemiah was upset that the other governors of Israel was doing that. And he said, no, I'm going to take the SS funds that I have and take care of the poor. Make sure they're straight. Not the other way around. Taz was to take care of the people, take care of the priests, because they had no occupation, right? And they were only set apart to do sacrifices and do the priestly roles. You understand? We don't have that here in America, so don't let nobody fool you and say, well, we the priests, so we need to. No, you're not them. And also take care of the women and the needy, the widows and the needy, and the orphans. That's what those funds were set aside for, and that's what that food was set aside for. Right. Sending that, even spending EBT in their stores, sending their children to college is crazy. Exactly. You understand? We got this culture where we don't want to go to college. We don't want to work. We won't do nothing. But these are the things that have to be done if we're going to pull ourselves out of the mire. Remember, the Bible says money is a defense, man. And a lot of us are out here without a shield. You know what I'm saying? A lot of brothers is damn near homeless. Some brothers are homeless, living in group homes, claiming to be Israelites. And nobody's trying to tell them, hey, we need to, help you get into a better situation. You need to help yourself as well. Because you can't help nobody that's not willing to help themselves. You understand? Especially in a time period, this COVID-19, school is damn near free. Man, y'all better be eating these degrees up to fill that skill gap, man. Or I don't want to hear you talking about, man, hey, we fall on hard times. The same brothers fall on hard times all the time. If that's the case, brother, you need to do something about it. Well, everybody can't do it. And that's why I say this is where the organizations should come into play. Instead of robbing people of their money, you should be building up funds for people like that so they can get skills. Not to just pay their bills, to give them skills so you don't have to pay their bills no more. But that's too much like right. You got to get all the money. You got to get all of the resources stuffed up your ass so your family's straight and everybody else suffer, man. Stop. So again, stay in the course only makes sense if you're heading in a sensible direction. And we got, as Israelites, we got to head this thing into a sensible direction. Not raping and robbing the people of their resources, but leading them into skill-based resources so they can take care of their families. Remember, the scriptures tell you a man that doesn't provide for his own is worse than an infidel. So why are we not teaching our people to be providers? Why are we, especially the man? You know what I'm saying? Some Israelites teaching that the man should sit at home and the women do all the damn work, man. Where is that? When was that okay, man? Who raised you niggas?
While passion is way too important to be without, it is way too fickle to follow around. Which brings us to the final dirty truth.
Passion is way too fickle to follow around. So, again, we need to be opportunity driven and not passion driven.
Never follow your passion, but always bring it with you. Congratulations again, and good luck. I'm Mike Rowe from MicroWorks for Prager University.
To subscribe to our YouTube channel, click here. To help keep our videos free, donate here.
All right, so that was the PragerU video, man. I also want to share a video by Thomas Sowell, because again, I made this video, to give strong reasons to why black adults should go seek continued education. Ramal Yahoo also states, and man, I was struggling until I was 28. I manned up and started reading and putting Yah first, and man, doors open up. Belief without works is dead. Men that don't work don't eat. Now I make furniture for the Navy. See, there we go. All praises. All praises. And that's right, man. And that's a principle in the Bible. If any man don't work, neither shall he eat. But you got Israelites going around saying that they don't have to work. You understand? And then manipulating the people's minds. But all praises for that, brother. And that's how we have to see it. We got to become victors, not victims. Because a lot of our people have a victim mind state where they say, well, I can't really do nothing. I'm not going to try because the white man going to stop us. Look at Tulsa, Oklahoma. But one thing they're not going to tell you about Tulsa, Oklahoma, after they burnt that down, when they burned down Black Wall Street, those black men, those black women came back and built it back up, and it was successful into the civil rights era. That's the part they don't tell you. They only tell you the part to make you give up. Facts. They are making excuses, man. And that's going to be the next video that we play about the excuses, man, that we make for bad behavior and our bad choices. And that's what's prevalent and pervasive in the community. Watch this. Let's play the legendary Thomas Sowell.
Teachers have aided and abetted the perpetuation of a white liberals. White liberals in many roles, as intellectuals, politicians, celebrities, judges, teachers, have aided and abetted the perpetuation of a counterproductive and self-destructive lifestyle among black rednecks. The welfare state has made it economically possible to avoid many of the painful consequences of this lifestyle that forced previous generations of blacks and whites to move away from the redneck culture and its values.
You see that? Did you hear that? Before the welfare state, before the welfare state created a safety net. If you had bad behaviors or poor decision making and you failed in life, that hardship made it where black people had to get up and get it. They had a grinding mentality where they went up and said, listen, if I don't do anything, my family is going to starve to death. You understand? So let me get up, go get this trade, go get this skill, and make this money. But now with the welfare state, it made a safety net, and it created what the brother just said, slothfulness. It made a lot of our people very slothful. And now we're not goal orientated, man. We're complacent with being at the bottom. And that's why I said Thomas Sowell's works are so powerful and on point. Watch this.
lax law enforcement has enabled the violent and criminal aspects of this culture to persist, and non-judgmental intellectual trends have enabled it to escape moral condemnation. As far back as
You hear that? Escape moral condemnation. Moral condemnation. We can't even condemn things that black people do because there's going to be 1,000 excuses for why they're doing it. Well, you can't say anything about black baby mamas and single parent homes because you don't understand what it's like to be a black woman. Or you can't say nothing about black people committing crimes at a high level because you don't understand what it's like. We making all these excuses for this bad behavior instead of making it taboo. You understand? And then when the welfare system came around, it multiplied these bad behaviors because now you're incentivizing it. And if you incentivize anything, you get more of it. You're rewarding bad behavior. We can't even condemn the bad behavior in the black community. And if you do it, you're going to be called a coon. You're going to be called an Uncle Tom. Well, really, you the Uncle Tom, you the coon because you are perpetuating the very thing that's destroying the black community. You do not want to see us succeed because you want the prevalent bad behavior and poor decision to continue to rule in the black community. Come on, man.
1901, W.E.B. Du Bois, while complaining of racial discrimination against blacks, also condemned indiscriminate charity for its bad effects within the black community. In a later era, the burgeoning welfare.
He said indiscriminate charity had a bad effect in the black community. Just giving black people money, giving them housing, giving them food stamps, it was having a bad effect in 1901. It's having a bad effect in 2021. And the bad effect that has happened is it's created this culture where it's okay to keep messing up, keep creating broken homes, keep creating criminal culture. Because again, we can't condemn them, remember, because if we condemn them, we're coons. We get castigated and ostracized by the people if we condemn the damn behavior. You understand? Say something about a woman being loose. What's going to happen to you? You're going to get condemned by the black community. So any forces opposing the bad behavior and the poor choices are being washed out the community because no one can say anything without being ostracized.
Their state, especially since the 1960s, has spread an indiscriminate charity in both money and attitudes that has given the black redneck culture a new lease on life. Intellectuals have been particularly prominent among those who have turned the black redneck culture into a sacrosanct symbol of racial identity.
And that is true. The black red, and why is he calling it the black redneck culture? Because if you read his book, he tells you that everything that we call a black culture, what we identify as black culture, descends from white British men, white British people that brought a subculture, a bad, negative, degenerate culture from Britain to the South in America. And we learned it. That's where we get the word chitlins from, our chitlins. From them. That's where we get our broken English from them. This is where we get a lot of our bad habits from them. That's why his book is called Black Rednecks and White Liberals. And now the black redneck culture that we have has become sacrosanct, meaning it's sacred to us. We can't speak it. Speaking against it is like speaking against a religious ideology. Because we identify with it now. Well, that's just how black people is. You ain't black if you don't do X, Y, and Z. You ain't black if you don't eat chitlins. You ain't black if you don't speak Ebonics. We infuse ourselves with a negative, degenerate culture that came from white British people, man. And we calling that black culture. And guess what else they didn't value? They didn't value education either. Just like our community doesn't value education. That behavior came from them. Stop watching these people on YouTube telling you, this behavior came from Africans. Africans are not academic. We're more. No. And then turn around and talk about the Moors when the Moors are the reason why you have these high sciences. Chemistry. Okay? First ones to have an astronomical observatory. But you want to sit here and try to make excuses for our lack of academics. You understand? And try to make it seem masqueraded as some kind of African culture when it's not. This comes from white trash. And we label it black culture. Let's keep going.
This includes both black and white intellectuals, though the latter predominate numerically and in terms of influence through the media and academia.
So you got a lot of white liberals pushing this culture and saying, hey, it's okay for black people to speak broken English. It's okay for black people not to get continuing education. It's okay for black people to be criminals. It's okay for black people to be baby mamas and baby daddies. They're pushing it because they making money off of it. The private prison industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So yeah, they want your kids to fail out of school so they can lock their ass up and make money off of them, man. It's all a Ponzi scheme. So of course, we're like, yeah, okay, yeah, black people should continue to do all of the bad things because that's black culture. You understand? Why? Because when you look at the white liberal community, their community is gated. Their community has people that graduate with honors. Their community believes in education, but they tell your community not to believe in education. It's a waste of time. It's okay to be degenerate. It's okay to speak broken English. You understand? When we know communication is huge in business. But they're going to tell you that it's okay for your children not to speak properly and speak Ebonics because that's black culture. Y'all better wake the hell up. Y'all better wake the hell up, man.
Yeah. Intellectuals have promoted misconceptions of history, misreadings of contemporary life, and counterproductive notions of how to prepare for the future. By projecting a vision of a world in which the problems of blacks are consequences of the actions of whites, either immediately or in times past, white liberals have provided a blanket excuse for shortcomings and even crimes by blacks.
You hear that? A blanket excuse for shortcomings and even crimes by blacks. You understand? And these talking points are in the mouths and minds of other black people. Not knowing that the white liberals are doing it to stagnate us, and we're doing it because we think we love our people by defending them. Oh, we're defending them by making excuses for them. No, you're stagnating black people because you're not condemning it. You're not making it a taboo. You're not pushing it out of your community. You're saying it's okay. It's black culture. It's okay to be a baby mom. No, it's not. No, it's not. In the 1900s, in the early 1900s, 90% of black people were married and they grew up in a double parent home. They had nuclear families. And guess what? That's when we were at our zenith. That's when we made the most money, pure family. That's when we had our most businesses and we were career orientated. But they sit up here and try to make excuses for every bad decision, every poor decision that we make. And guess what? The more we excuse it, the more it multiplies and festers in the black community. And you have adopted this from white liberals because they were, if you know the history of the Liberal Party, the Democratic Party, their whole existence was to keep black people down. And they were successful to this day. To this day. When Abraham Lincoln freed the blacks, we freed the slaves to the Emancipation Proclamation. What did the Democrats do? They imposed the black codes to keep us what? Keep us from buying land, owning land. You understand? And getting jobs. That's what they were doing. That's why they don't want us going into education. They want to keep us illiterate. That's why they want the public schools to be shitty as hell so our children continue to be illiterate and we can't compete. That's what the black codes did. That's what Jim Crow laws did. It was all democratic liberal policies. And these are the same people telling you black people are defined the way they are because they know your children are going to grow up in broken homes. Your children are going to go to failing schools. Your children are more likely to be incarcerated and fill one of their private prisons and feed their families and feed white suburbia. You niggas better wake the hell up, man. And you feeding right into it by excusing the behavior. Yeah. Let your son continue to act the way he acts. We got a special place for him. Y'all gotta open your eyes.
The very possibility of any internal cultural sources of the problems of blacks have been banished from consideration by the fashionable phrase, blaming the victim. But no one can be blamed for being born into a culture that evolved in centuries past, even though moving beyond such a culture may do more for future advancement than blaming others or seeking special dispensations. Blaming others. Blaming others for anything in which blacks lag has become standard operating procedure among white liberals. If blacks do not pass bar exams or medical board tests as often as whites or Asians, then that shows that something is wrong with those tests, as far as many white liberals are concerned. Best-selling author Andrew Hacker, for example, says that academic problems in general are created for black students in white colleges because such colleges use curricula that are white in logic and learning, in their conceptions of scholarly knowledge and demeanor.
You see that? White in logic and learning. What is he saying about black people? What is this white liberal man saying about black people? He's saying that we are incapable. Y'all don't see it. Y'all don't see it. That black people too dumb and slow and they're incapable to operate on the same level as white people. You understand? That's what that white man just said. Oh, well, they make these tests for white logic and white. Come on, man.
Why this does not seem to be a problem for Asian students remains unexplained, even though blacks have lived in this white society for centuries longer than either Asian Americans or contemporary immigrants from Asia.
That's a cut.
Why it is not a problem for blacks from the Caribbean is another unexplained.
And that's true. Blacks from Caribbeans they fare better in education than native-born blacks in America. So obviously, it's not the test or the corpus or the math. It's the culture that's allowing and excusing bad behavior and poor decisions in our community. You understand? Watch this.
In contradiction of such white liberal excuses for American-born blacks. If black attorneys are not elevated to partnerships in law firms in proportion to their numbers, then to the New York Times this shows, in the words of their front page headline, law firms are slow in promoting minority lawyers to partner role. Apparently, there can only be external reasons for anything negative that happens to blacks. According to Andrew Hacker, the fact that white taxi drivers often pass up black males seeking a ride, especially at night, shows these drivers to be patently racist, even though black taxi drivers do the same in order to avoid becoming victims of crime. White liberals long denied that there were higher crime rates among blacks by pointing to the imperfections of crime statistics in general, or, more specifically, claiming that blacks are simply arrested more often for things that whites would not be arrested for. But if the imperfections of crime statistics were the real problem, then discussions could be limited to murder statistics, since dead bodies are not ignored, whether they are black or white, and neither are murderers, whatever their race. But murder statistics show the same disproportionate number of crimes by blacks as other statistics do. While murder statistics might...
And the reason behind that is, I'm not sure if he's going to cover it in the video, that we have pushed a culture that came from white British males, by the way, white trash. What we call black culture is really white trash. Like, if you even examine gangster culture, that started with Italians. They were the first gangsters in America. You understand? So this negative culture, it comes from a subculture, a low culture, a degenerate culture that came from whites. And they also had a low regard for life. And he talks about that in his book, A Low Regard for Life. And we have adopted that. And that's in our black community today. A low regard to life. You know, it's cool if a nigga caught four bodies. It's cool if a nigga said he had 4 bodies. He's going to be honored in his hood. He's going to be honored in his neighborhood. Oh, yeah, he the man. I heard he smoked 4 people. Look at Chicago. Chicago having record number after record number of murders, even during the pandemic. Look at Baltimore. Record number of murders. You understand? So these things are going on. We got to stop excusing this, man. We find 1,000 excuses for it instead of organizing and planning on ways to reduce these things.
Might provide more accuracy, they would not provide white liberals with a means of evading the obvious. Riots by blacks are almost automatically blamed on whites, whether in the Kerner Report on the riots of the 1960s or in the reactions among white liberals to the Los Angeles riots of 1992. In some white liberal circles, the New York Times, for example, the police are almost automatically at fault in confrontations with black criminals, hoodlums, or rioters. When the police arrive on a scene of crime or violence in black communities, whatever they do is likely to be categorized later as either having let the situation get out of hand or as having used excessive force. Any force sufficient to prevent the situation from getting out of hand is almost certain to be called excessive force by white liberals in the media, so that, by definition, the police will have acted badly no matter what they did or failed to do. Should the police arrive in such overwhelming numbers as to bring the disorder to a quick halt without any need to use force at all, then they will often be said to have overreacted by sending so many cops to deal with unresisting people. One of the reactions of the police to such predictable scapegoating in the media has been to de-police some of the most violent black neighborhoods, looking the other way rather than risk seeing a whole career ruined by media charges of racism. This gives criminals, hoodlums, and riot.
You see the negative side of that? We don't think. Did you hear what he just said? The media's like, especially with this Black Lives Matter movement. A lot of blacks went out destroying cities or whatever. Boom, boom, boom. That was incited by Black Lives Matter, George Soros, which is a liberal as well, to make us look bad. And it's just so crazy how we defend this stuff instead of stepping back and looking at it from a totality perspective. And then what was the result? Okay, now the police are going to withdraw from these impoverished communities, these inner cities communities, look the other way because they don't want to get blamed for anything. And then crime gets worse. So who wins in that? We still lose. At the end of the day, our community still suffers. Counterproductive.
A freer hand at the expense of law-abiding blacks, who may be the great majority, even in a...
You hear that? At the expense of law-abiding blacks, who may be the great majority, because not everybody out there committing crimes. But once you do things like this, right? Those with the guns, especially in cities and states where you can't even own a damn pistol. The law-abiding citizen can't own a pistol, but the crooked people, the criminals of our community, got Dracos. You've effectively turned that community into the Wild Wild West.
A high crime neighborhood. There is evidence that this is in fact what happens after a barrage of adverse media coverage against the police. The fact that black rednecks exhibit the same hostility and violence toward other minorities, long associated with bigoted white rednecks in the South, presents white liberals with another challenge to find a way to evade the obvious. Black anti-Semitism, for example, is not recognized by Andrew Hacker, who claims that no one really knows if blacks and whites differ markedly in their feelings about Jews, despite survey after survey showing greater hostility to Jews among blacks. Black hostility to other minorities, such as the Koreans, has likewise often been ignored by such liberal publications as the New York Times, or even defined out of existence by a variety of white liberal writers on grounds that racism requires power, which blacks do not have. Following that logic, Nazis were not anti-Semites, until they gained control of the German government, and the Ku Klux Klan today would not be called racist anymore because it has lost the power it once had. But the arbitrary proviso of power was never part of the definition of racism until racism among blacks became widespread enough to require a convenient evasion. The general orientation of white liberals has been one of, what can we do for them? What blacks can do for themselves has not only been of lesser interest, much of what blacks have in fact already done for themselves has been overshadowed by liberal attempts to get them special dispensation.
Look at this, white liberal chicks. I'm not oppressed. Shh. Yes, you are. You just aren't aware and need me to white explain your oppression for you. You are feeble and lower than me and need me to be your savior. You cannot get by without me. Yeah. So again, with these, a lot of times these white liberals, what they do is express their superiority and express black inferiority. You understand? That's all they're doing. Remember, these are the same people. These are the descendants of the Dixiecrats. These are the descendants of the people who started the Ku Klux Klan, the Jim Crow laws, the the Black Codes. These are the people that voted against our 40 acres and a mule. So everything they're doing is to stifle black people like they've been doing for the past 100, 200 years. They want us to keep our negative culture. They want our crime rates to remain high, to feed their damn prison system. You understand? They want our women to constantly be baby mamas and our children to grow up in single parent homes. Because that ensures that we'll be disenfranchised, that we'll produce nothing but unskilled workers or criminals and more baby mamas. Slave breeders, quote unquote. Come on, man. This is why they want us to behave. This is why George Soros put that type of money into Black Lives Matter. This is why they had groups laying bricks out there, and black people fell for it, went out there and grabbed the bricks and started throwing and breaking stuff. They've seen these agitators. People seen the agitators. These people not stupid, man. This is done by design. This is done by design, man. To keep us as a permanent lower class.
Affirmative action, reparations for slavery, or other race-based benefits, even when the net effect of these dispensations has been much less than the effects of blacks' own self-advancement. For example,
you hear that? Welfare and all of these, like food stamps and everything, has been much less than blacks' own advancements. Meaning, when we get up and actually do for self, when we get these skills that people are willing to pay for, and we build our own, we do better. You understand? Welfare, people getting $600 a month and their house paid for them. Okay, but they still impoverished. They're still in a impoverished situation. They don't have that much power. They don't have that much control of their life. Versus someone actually getting the degree, getting an actual job and skill, marrying someone else that has a job and skill, they do a lot better in life. It's just common damn sense. Which would you? What would you rather have? $600 a month, or $8,000 a month, or $16,000 a month? It's a no goddamn brainer, man.
Although the greatest reduction in poverty among blacks occurred before the civil rights revolution of the 1960s, the liberal vision in which
the greatest reduction of poverty amongst blacks occurred before the civil rights. This is what you're not going to learn in mainstream media. Poverty increased with blacks afterwards. Joblessness increased afterwards because of the welfare state.
Black lags are explained by white oppression requires black advances to be explained by the fight against such oppression, symbolized by the civil rights legislation of the 1960s. This scenario has been repeated so often through so many channels that it has become a well-known fact by sheer repetition. Moreover, this protest and government action model has become the liberals' preferred, if not universal, model for future black advancement. Misconceptions of history. Many of the prevailing misconceptions of the histories of both blacks and whites in America derive from trying to amalgamate morality and causation so as to make the moral evil of slavery a causal explanation of contemporary negative social phenomena.
Watch this.
Which-
Watch this, because a lot of people say, well, slavery is the reason for X, Y, and Z, the reason why we messed up. Watch this. Watch what happened after
have
slavery.
in fact had entirely different historical bases. When discussing both blacks and Southern whites, slavery has served as an all-purpose explanation of many social phenomena, ranging from broken families to poor education, lower labor force participation rates, and high rates of crime and violence.
You hear that? Poor education, high rates of crime and violence. That's where we're at today. But watch what happened afterwards. Watch.
Often, evidence has been neither asked for nor given. Not surprisingly, many of these explanations do not stand up under scrutiny. Census data, for example,
What he just named is where we're at today. High rates of crime and violence and poor education. But after slavery, if you read his book, what happened was the missionaries from New England in the northeast came down and began to educate black people. Yes, missionaries are the reason why black people started to get educated at a high level. You understand? I believe W.B. Du Bois even came out of that. And that engendered prosperity within the black community. You understand? That's why I said early in the 1900s, 90% of us were married. Two-parent households. 90% of us were growing up in two-parent households. We had the most businesses that we ever had, ever in the history of America. You understand? We had more wealth than we ever had ever in the history of America, collectively. So what happened then and there? So right after slavery, we were doing better than we are now. Think about it. You understand? Sweet Auburn, Orange Mound, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, that happened after slavery. Why are we not replicating that today? Watch this.
show that labor force participation rates were higher among non-whites than among whites in 1920 and 1930. No matter what the origin of counterproductive behavior, such behavior must be changed if progress is the goal. On the other hand, if the real agenda is to score points against American society, then blacks can be used as a means to that end. More generally, a pro-black stance by white intellectuals enhances the latter's moral standing and self-esteem, whether or not the particular manifestation of that stance helps or harms blacks on net balance. The chafing restrictions of civilization, which can at times become irksome to people of any color, may be vicariously thrown off by those white intellectuals who cheer on outlandish and even lawless behavior by black hoodlums or...
You see that? Outlandish and lawless behavior is being pushed by white liberals. Why? Because it benefits them and it hurts us. Just like the black codes benefited white people and it hurted us, right? Just like Jim Crow laws benefited white people and hurt it and harmed black people. It's the same thing, man. It's the same political party. Nothing changed. They just got wiser.
Entertainers. Blacks, in effect, become the mascots of these intellectuals, symbolizing and acting out the latter's resistance to society, or more accurately, civilization. But while mascots may be indulged, more fundamentally, mascots exist for the sake of those who adopt them, and the actual well-being of the mascot is seldom a high priority. By cheering on counterproductive attitudes, making excuses for self-defeating behavior, and promoting the belief that racism accounts for most of blacks' problems,
You see that? Promoting what? Self-defeating behavior. These white liberals are promoting self-defeating behavior, and many of the black, especially black conscious people, have promoted the same thing. You have adopted their talking points. You're okay with black people not being able to read, to be illiterate. You're going to make excuses for it. You're okay with the high crime rates in Baltimore, Chicago, and elsewhere. You're okay with the fact that we keep producing baby mamas and baby daddies. You're okay with that because you keep excusing it. That's the same thing they're doing because it's hurting our community and they know it and they want to promote the destruction of black people. And you're doing the same damn thing inadvertently. doing the same thing. I get on here and tell you education is the way to go. This is how you're going to change your life and alter it. Not by getting 3 streams of income. What you do, you don't want to listen to me. You're going to go get scammed by Polite. You're going to go get scammed by some Moorish temple promising sovereignty. You understand? Because again, you're self-defeating in your thinking, right? And you're counterproductive in your thinking. We got to get away from that. We have to erode these white liberal talking points, because these white liberal talking points are pervasive in the black community and has corrupted the black community.
White intellectuals serve their own psychic, ideological, and political interests. They are the kinds of friends who can do more harm than enemies. A crucial fact about white liberals must be kept in mind. They are not simply in favor of blacks in general. Their solicitude is poured out for blacks as victims, blacks as welfare mothers, criminals, political activists against the larger society, as well as those blacks who serve as general countercultural symbols against the larger society. White liberals have nothing approaching the same interest in blacks as the principal victims of black criminals, or as people advancing themselves within the existing framework of American society, including many who have risen within the military. Nor do they get particularly worked up over blacks who build up their own human capital or business capital. None of the many reports of black schools that excel academically seems to arouse any great interest among white liberals. It was not the liberals in Washington, but the Reagan administration, which offered successful black educator Marva Collins an appointment as Secretary of Education.
Wow. Like I said, wow, man. Like I said, Tom Sowell hit right on the head, man. And he said these are the type of the friends that are worse than enemies. And we have adopted their talking points. We have used their mechanisms to defend negative culture. And one of the negative cultures that I will pray that we can erode is our inability to go to school and continue education and change our salaries, man. Because again, I see everybody saying the same thing. They want to change their life. They want to change their life. That's why they're falling into these traps, into the hands of these greedy gurus or church leaders, Israelite leaders, Kemetic priests, what have you. Because everyone's looking for the same thing. They want to escape poverty. And this is going to circle right back to why I made this video. If you want to escape poverty, get a skill that people are willing to pay for. Go get a degree, man. Get your degree. Go get a trade if you can work with your hands. It's going to be hard to work. Remember this. The harder you work with your mind, the less you work with your hands. And we brought out the video with PragerU, where PragerU stated the skill gap that exists in America. We should be taking advantage of that skill gap. There's a skill gap in the computer programming sector. There's not enough people to do computer programming. Let me show you. I'm going to go to Glassdoor and show you the average salary of computer programmers. What brother's going to say? That's not for everybody. That's not for everybody. How do you know you ain't even applied? Secondly, again, we watch what happens to people that follow their passion and not opportunity. This is an opportunity. This might not be your passion. Who cares? But when you follow your passion, you look past or not even aware of all of the opportunities around you. Right? And that's what I'm trying to make clear on today's podcast, on today's show. Watch this. I'm going to show you the salary. Computer programming salary. If it pop up. Let's see. Go to pay scale. Pay scale. Watch this. I'm going to show y'all. And again, you know, brothers always, you know, people that's gonna watch this gonna say, well, I can't do it because X, Y, Z. I can't go back to school because I'm a felon. Again, there's plenty of felon friendly degrees, and computer programming, computer science is one of them. So the median average base salary in America of a computer programmer is $64,000 a year. That's the base salary. So meaning entry level. Entry level. So again, this is way better than making $20,000 to $30,000 a year, and that's just starting off. And see, the average pay over 20 years span will be $85K. But then if you go to like places like Google, let me get Google. Watch this. Computer programming salary at Google. Let's go to Google. Watch this. People that's in New York and California, look, starting at $45K, maxing out at $210K. Look, $150K to $200K. $51K to $84K. That's way better than making $20,000 a damn year, man. Let's look up data scientists. How much they make a year? Upwards to $260,000 at Google, $120 to $150K a year, $120 to $280K a year. That's big money. That's big money. $99K to $170K, $40K to $170K. That's the United States average. You see what I'm saying? So again, to recapitulate, you don't have to go to. Let's watch this. I probably can go on YouTube right now and find 1,000 videos on Forex trading, but how many videos we gonna see, you know, pushing black males towards this? You understand? And then what's the job market and how viable and how open these markets are? Because like we pointed out earlier, Prager, you pointed out that there's 5.8 million jobs that are open, and employers are struggling to fill these positions because there's not enough people trained to do these things. So it's time for us to take advantage of it. But I know it's going to fall on deaf ears, and you know, black people want to hear that. You want to hear more about, you know, astral projecting and Nibiru, Planet X, the Nephilim, Atlantis, and the Atlanteans. You want to hear more stuff like that, and how black people used to have green skin. For all my Dr. Yorkites out there, Nuwapians. Alien abduction. You don't want to hear about education and furthering our education and do things that can actually benefit us financially as a whole. Not your church leader sitting up there taking tithes money from you. He should be taking that money and using it as a fund to educate people, to send people off to get trades and skills. Y'all need to start pressing y'all church leaders on stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Could you imagine to have the whole church assembly get together and press him, say, we want these funds to be allocated towards us going to school and getting skills so we can land some of these jobs. You know what I'm saying? So all of us can be straight, not just you. Here's the math degrees, best jobs for math majors. This was in 2019 from College Salary Report, payscale.com. Actuary, workers with this major, 54%. Mid-career pay, $131,000 a year. Data engineer, $113,000. Quantitative analyst, statistics, $113,000. Data scientist, $111,000. Business intelligence manager, $110,000 a year. Analytics consultant, $98,000 a year. Business intelligence developer, $94,000 a year. SAS programmer, $91,000 a year. Database developer, $90,000 a year. Programming analysis, $84,000 a year. Application developer, $84,000 a year. So it goes on and on and on. And then the lowest on this page is 64. So this is how I would advise anyone to get a skill. Look into the market, look into how viable it is, and see how much it's paying. And that's the skill you should be trying to learn and carve out. Not going off what makes you feel good or what your passion is. I don't give a damn if you can spit rhymes. What's the likelihood of that providing for you and your family? You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all got kids, and y'all don't have this mind state. And your family gonna suffer because you're not providing when you could be doing everything you can in your power and your body to do this thing. You're not mentally retarded. You're not physically disabled. You can take your grown ass back to school and make a difference for you and yours. You understand? Now watch this. Watch this. I'm gonna bring this up too. I'm gonna bring this up too, because many of these jobs are in high demand. Like the data scientists. You understand? You know what I'm saying? So if you can gain these skills, a lot of these have a lot of growth rates. And I'm going to show you something too. And, you know, a lot of this, what I'm saying is wishful thinking, because I already know who's going to fill these jobs. It's going to be Asians. You know what I'm saying? Right now, artificial intelligence engineers has a projected growth rate of 344%. That's how big that job market is growing. And at the current rate, it's going to grow 344%. They need people doing that. Data scientists is growing about 15%. Information security analysts, 31%. Software engineers, 22%. So this industry is booming, man. We should take advantage of it. But I know, again, I'm speaking to people that don't give a damn about nothing I'm saying. But at least I can reach one or two of y'all, two or three of y'all. Then my job is done. You know, you may the Most High bless you and your family. Because what you're going to do is help yourself and help your family by doing something like this. Watch this. Let me show you this. Read this article to you. Let me read this article to you, brothers and sisters. This is careerkarma.com. Best Tech Careers 2021, the most competitive jobs. It says the most competitive jobs. It is clear to everyone that the tech industry is booming. That's why now it's the perfect time to learn about the best tech careers in the United States. These are the best technology careers because they offer high salaries, promising employment growth, and excellent satisfaction ratings. These tech jobs also boast competitive benefit packages, including health care, insurance, retirement plans, and other perks. Artificial intelligence engineer, median pay $146,000 a year, 344%. Data scientist, median pay is $100,000 a year, 15%. Information security analyst, $99,000. So before you're software engineer, basic computer programmer, right? $107,000 a year and 22% projected growth rate. Can you just imagine a congregation? Oh, because when I was in Dallas, I had a congregation we were a part of a congregation of about 100 people. Let's say 50% of the people went. 50 people went and was able to get these degrees and obtain these high-paying salaries. You just made that congregation a lot more wealthy. No one's dealing with struggling. You can do more things. Now you can buy the education center. Now you can buy that tutoring center for our children that are going to school and they need tutoring and advanced care and academics. Now you can pay for, because people were talking about having the midwives, having a midwife. Now you can pay for midwives train sisters to become midwives. Money is a defense. Quite frankly, we don't have the resources. We don't have the money because we don't have the careers that make the money. You understand? People say, why not become entrepreneurs? Yeah, you can become an entrepreneur, but become an entrepreneur, you still need to have a damn skill. Still have to have experience in the field that you're trying to become an entrepreneur in. Like I do HVAC. I got 10 years experience in it. You understand? It makes more sense for me to go ahead and do that. But what are we doing in our community if we're not pushing to grow, to make these higher salaries so we can actually attain the capital to make these quote unquote black utopias that y'all keep talking about on y'all YouTube channels, or be the change that y'all talk about on your YouTube channels? But just imagine you had a congregation of 100 people, and you were able to get at least 50 of them to obtain these different degrees and these skills and land these jobs. You know what I'm saying? 50, let me get my calculator up here. Hold on. I'm going to use base pay $100,000 a year. Maybe it's not registering to some of you guys out there. You understand? That's $5 million. That one congregation will be making $5 million a year in total. You know, before taxes, of course. $5 million damn dollars. And that's why I said a lot of these people that's making these congregations in these camps, what is it for? What are you doing it for? It's not utilitarian. How are the people utilizing this to better themselves and better the community? But if you were able to make that, to cultivate our people to become tech giants or technocrats and technocracy, you would remove the ills of poverty in a short amount of time. If you created a facility that did nothing but that. But no, we want to talk about religiosity. We want to talk about Nubaru. We want to talk about astral projecting. We put more focus on these things that don't put no food in nobody's stomach or no coats on anyone's back when it's cold. And they wonder why we have a community full of religious yet poor people, poor righteous teachers. I'm not for that. I don't support that at all. And that's why I'll continue to spread awareness on my channel, continue to bring up education, talk about viable resources, viable degrees, and viable job markets and viable job fields, because that's what we need to hear. And I am pushing and advocating for grown men and women to continue their education. That's how you alter your situation. That's how you change your situation for the better. You understand? Not everybody going to become a singer, rapper, famous, movie star, or what have you. But a lot of y'all can become computer scientists. A lot of y'all can become math majors. A lot of y'all can advance in the medical field. A lot of y'all can deal with STEM. It's more likely to fall in one of those things because, again, look at that number right there, 344% job growth. And they already suffer because they don't have enough people that can do it. So when we gonna fill the skill gap? I guess only in my damn dreams. You know what the man said about dreams. But if I can get a few of y'all to see the vision and see the outcome, maybe something will change. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting ready to close it out, but y'all can clearly see, man. I'm gonna read some more of these. An overview of the best IT jobs. IT manager, 146,000 with a 10% projected job growth. Database administrator, $93,000 a year. Web developer, $73,000. Computer hardware engineer, $117,000 a year, 2% growth. Computer system analyst, $90,000 a year. DevOps engineer, $111,000 a year, 21% growth. Computer network architect, $112,000 a year, 5% growth. Java developer, 19% growth. Tech sales engineer, $103,000 a year with a 6% growth. PHP developer, $86,000. Python developer, $85,000. Network and computer system administrator, $83,000 a year with a 4% growth. Mobile application developer, $73,000. Web designer, UX, UI, $64,000. The information in this guide comes from a variety of sources, including the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, and PayScale. Then it gives you the top 20. So we clearly see the payout on this. And I understand why everybody hates academics. Oh, well, you tell us to go to school, get the white man's paper. Man, I'm telling you, go to school so you can have a better living situation for you and yours. That's why. And especially you brothers and sisters that got congregations and camps. You know what I'm saying? Especially brothers and sisters that are not working and not doing nothing at all. You should be applying to these schools and getting your degrees. There's no excuse. No excuse at all. Even I know the black community loves making excuses for bad decisions and poor decisions. Somebody got to break the chain. Somebody got to break the cycle. All right. So, man, with that, we're going to close out the show. 7 gang over everything. We pushing education over here, man. That's what we pushing. We're not pushing no fugazi, over religiosity and all the other BS over here on the channel. Stop being scared. Apply yourself. Work towards these goals. Become goal-orientated. And that's how you defeat poverty and defeat your situation. I am advocating for you adults, you black adults. If you want to change your living situation, your economic situation, seek further education in a viable field and a viable career that has a high payout and a high demand and not enough people that can do it. All right, let's get it.
Falling down my eyes, never catch my story. Torrance 45 on my side, this look like I'm falling. You can see the twinkle in my eye, pussy bitches stalling. Out you living suicide, out you living do or die. Getting high, bitch, I'm too fly. Raise a roof up to the sky. 100 proof I never lie. Tell the truth, I never die. To the sky, bitch, I'm too fly. Bulletproof whip, big shout out to I. You don't listen to the man up in the sky, but you listen to the man up in the skies. Why you work, you just choose which way to die. Rock the boat and shake his bitch from side to side. Make them feel just for their lives, just like you feel just for your lives. I see that look up in your eyes. You might step, but it's only black lies. Wish you niggas realize that ain't gangsta, you won't touch the one that's crank. Holding on the bitch, you might just tell him thank you. Right before we blink. $10,000 by my side, cause these niggas scared to die. 2,000 angels by my side, cause you niggas scared to die. Tears falling down my eyes, never catch the Torrance 45 on my side, this look like I'm balling. You can see the twinkle in my eye, pussy bitches stalling. Out you living suicide,
All right, man. We'll be back tomorrow going live with y'all. SUC in the building. Source gang, 7 gang over everything. Let's get it. Gang!